రాజు యూట్యూబ్లో ఇచ్చేసిన మ్యాక్సిమం 10 నిమిషంలో అదే మన రాజు రాజు
సార్
యూట్యూబ్లో ఇచ్చేసిన లింక్ ఇది యాక్టివేట్ అయిపోతాయి మ్యాక్సిమం. ఇది మళ్ళీ వచ్చిన వాళ్ళందరూ యాక్టివేట్ చేసుకోవచ్చు. ఎనాబుల్ వెయిటింగ్ రూమ్లో ఓపెన్ చేసి పెట్టేసిన.
ఓకే
ఎవరు వస్తారో వాళ్ళు జాయిన్ అవ్వచ్చు.
యూట్యూబ్ లింక్ గ్రూప్ లో పెట్టి
అందరికి ఇచ్చిన
పోస్ట్ చేసి నీకు వచ్చింది వాట్సాప్ లో గ్రూప్ లో పోస్ట్ చేసి. సార్
రాజు
ఎనేబుల్ తీసేసేయండి సార్. ఇంకొక మేడం ఫస్ట్ స్పీకర్ రావాలా, మేడం కోసం వెయిటింగ్.
నేను బయటకు పోతాను ఆ టైంలో, ఏం ప్రాబ్లం లేదు.
అంటే మా 100 అయితే
10 యాక్టివేట్ అయిపోతాయి. మనకు ఈరోజు ఉంటాయి కదా, కట్టేస్తాం. ఓకే, నేను నీకు హోస్ట్ ఇచ్చి నేను బయటకు వెళ్ళిపోతా. మేడం వచ్చిన తర్వాత కొట్టాయి, నేను యాక్టివేట్ అయిన తర్వాత నేను లోపల వస్తాను.
ఓకే
ఓకే. ఆ స్క్రీన్ లో ఒకసారి రికార్డ్ చేసుకో రాజు. రాజు 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 రికార్డ్ కూడా చేసుకో రాజు.
రికార్డ్ ఓకే.
ఫస్ట్ ఉండొచ్చు రికార్డ్ ఎండింగ్ కరెక్ట్ స్టార్ట్ చేసి నేను రికార్డ్ చేస్తే నేను రికార్డ్ చేసుకో.
మీరు కూడా చేయండి.
నేను చేస్తాను. ఒకవేళ నేను బయటకు పోయినంటే నీ చేయాలి కదా, అందు కాబట్టి నీకు హోస్ట్ ఇచ్చి నేను బయటకు పోతాను. ఓకే
సరే, నాకు హోస్ట్ ఇచ్చి బయటకు.
ఓకే రాజేష్, పోయినప్పుడు మేడం వచ్చినప్పుడు నేను బయటకు వెళ్ళాలి. అప్పుడే ఆ మేడం జాయిన్ అవ్వచ్చు.
అంటే ఇప్పుడు 100 అయింది కదా మేడం గారు.
మేడం వచ్చినారంటే నేను వెయిటింగ్ లో ఉంటానని నాకు తెలుసు. నేను మేడం చేసి నేను పోతా.
All the participants, please note, within 5 minutes the session will be start. Please, all the participants.
శ్రీనిధి మేడం వచ్చినారు పా రాజు. రాజు
సార్ శ్రీనిధి మేడం గారికి కో హోస్ట్ ఇచ్చేయండి, స్టార్ట్ చేద్దాం.
ఇప్పుడు వచ్చేసినారు. మీరు ఇచ్చిన ఇది ఇచ్చినావా?
ఆ కో హోస్ట్ ఇచ్చేయండి మేడం.
ఓకే వెరీ గుడ్. మేడం అన్మ్యూట్ చేసుకోండి చెప్పు రాజు. మేడం
శ్రీనిధి మేడం అన్మ్యూట్ చేసుకోండి మేడం. మీరు ఓకే మేడం.
వచ్చేసినారు, ల్యాండ్కి వచ్చినారు. మేడం వచ్చినారు. రాజు యూట్యూబ్ లైవ్ కూడా వస్తాయి.
ఓకే
ఇంకా కొద్ది టైంలో మనకు ఇది అయిపోతాయి, వచ్చేస్తాయి. ఇది కూడా
సార్ సర్బోజీ సార్ మీ దాంట్లో సర్బోజీ సార్
రాజు
సార్ స్క్రీన్ ఎన్లార్జ్ అయిందిగా
ఎన్లార్జ్ అయింది. ఒక నిమిషం రా శంకర్. రాజు స్క్రీన్ ఎన్లార్జ్ అవ్వలేదు రాజు.
కాలేదా?
ఒకసారి కొట్టు.
నాకైంది సార్ ఇక్కడ.
సరే ఓకే సార్. మినిమేచి మినిమైజ్ నాకు కావలేదా?
సార్
షేర్ చేయి
సార్. పీపీటీలో కింద ఫుల్ స్క్రీన్ ఆప్షన్ ఉంటుంది, అది క్లిక్ చేస్తే ఫుల్ స్క్రీన్ వస్తుంది. పీపీటీలో కింద ఉంటుంది.
సార్ ఇక్కడికి రామండి సార్, అక్కడ సిగ్నల్ లేదు. హలో 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 సార్ హలో సార్ వినపడుతుందా? హలో
రాజు.
ఓకే సార్, సెషన్ స్టార్ట్ చేస్తున్నారు.
రికార్డ్ చేస్తానా?
రికార్డ్ స్టార్ట్ చేస్తాను.
నేను కూడా స్టార్ట్ చేయరా?
Good morning to all. This is Dr. K. Shashidhar, convener of this national webinar. On behalf of Department of Environmental Sciences of Acharya Nagarjuna University and Center for Environment Education and Development, SEED, I welcome you to the national webinar. Department of Environmental Sciences, Acharya Nagarjuna University and Center for
సార్ వాయిస్ వినపడుతుందా?
Department of Environmental Sciences, Acharya Nagarjuna University, and Center for Environmental Education and Development jointly organizing this national webinar on environmental conservation, your social responsibility during COVID-19. First of all, I would like to express my thanks to beloved Vice Chancellor, Professor Rajshekar Patteti garu, for his continuous support and encouragement. Professor Rajshekar sir is an intellectual giant. He produced more than 44 PhDs and 65 MPhils. This is the academic track record of VC sir. Under his able and stable administration, university got more than 10 prestigious national and international rankings. This is his administrative track record. It is not a track record, it is all-time record in the history of Nagarjuna University. And I would like to express my sincere thanks to our beloved rector, Professor Varaprasad Murthy garu, for his continuous support. And also I express my gratitude and sincere thanks to Professor K. Rosaya sir, beloved principal of University College of Sciences and rector of the prestigious university. And outset, I express my thanks to all the resource persons to accept our invitation to participate to this national webinar as resource persons. Professor S.R. Thorat sir, Director, School of Environment and Earth Sciences, North Maharashtra University. Sri G. Srirangam Matthews garu, Academic Officer, Quality Assurance Cell, AP Council for Higher Education. Dr. N.S. Srinidhi garu, Assistant Professor, Forest College and Research Institute, Hyderabad. And my teacher and my guru, Dr. A.V.V.S. Swami garu, Board of Studies Chairman of Environmental Sciences, Nagarjuna University. And I express my thanks to Dr. SARABOJI Rao garu, Principal, Aditya College of Physical Education, Kakinada, for his continuous support, technical support to this national webinar. And I express my sincere gratitude, our beloved brother and principal, Dr. Satulur Raju, Principal, Physical Education College of Nonna. Because of his continuous support, we organized this national webinar. And lastly, I express my thanks to all the participants. Lastly, I express my gratitude and express my thanks to my guide, my mentor, Dr. P. Brahmaji Rao garu, to hand over the charge and conduct further proceedings of the webinar. Thank you all. Thank you once again.
Good morning to all. Welcome to the national webinar organized by the Department of Environmental Sciences, Acharya Nagarjuna University, with association with the SEED. I am very happy to introduce about the Department of Environmental Science, Acharya Nagarjuna University. We are glad to participate, all the participants in the national webinar, and also to aware the environmental conservation and your social responsibility during COVID-19 time. This is one of the topic which we are choosing in the present scenario. Particularly, the Department of Environmental Sciences was started in 1992, and 28 years the students were produce it to the society for the contribution towards the environmental conservation. The Department of Environmental Sciences, which we are giving a master's degree, MSc Environmental Sciences, and Master of Philosophy, and first Doctor of Philosophy. These are the courses are running with the help of the administration, UGC, and APSI. And at the same time, so far we are producing the 98 PhDs and 72 MPhils, and so many outreach programs we are also conducting in the, from the Department of Environmental Sciences. So we are glad to introduce our department is one of the significantly doing a outreach program also. It is a research as well as a consultancy from Acharya Nagarjuna University. In this regard, we are very happy to organize this national webinar. Particularly, the topic is environmental conservation and our social responsibility during a COVID-19. The resource persons are very familiar. That is, I am once again welcome to the resource persons, Professor SARABOJI and Dr. Srinidhi and Dr. GM Srirangam Garu and my colleague Dr. AVS Swami Garu, and also our faculty members, Dr. K. Shashidhar and Dr. V. Subhashini and Dr. C.H. Sunita, who are involved in this organizing this national seminar, national webinar. I'm very thankful to give the opportunity to organize a national webinar. Our administration, our beloved Vice Chancellor, Professor P. Rajashekar Garu, the esteemed professor in English, and also the able administrator. Now I request our Vice Chancellor to address the national webinar.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Brahmaji, for taking the responsibility in organizing a webinar on environmental conservation, your social responsibility during COVID-19. At the outset, I welcome all the participants to this webinar on behalf of the university. And I also thank the rector of our university, Professor Varaprasad Murthy, and the registrar of this university, Professor K. Roshaya, in their absence, and the keynote speaker, Professor S.R. Thorat, Professor and Director, School of Environment and Earth Sciences, North Maharashtra University, and another speaker, Dr. N.S. Srinidhi from Forest College and Research Institute, Hyderabad, Telangana, and also another, important faculty in the, in the Department of Environmental Sciences, Dr. AVS Swami, Chairman, Board of Studies, and the other young teachers in the department, Dr. Sheshadhar, Dr. Subhashini, and others in making this webinar possible. So on behalf of the university, I extend a warm welcome once again, congratulating the Department of Environmental Sciences to all the key speakers and the participants of this webinar. Yeah. So I'm only here to welcome and give you some introductory remarks on the topic of the webinar. I don't have to particularly emphasize on the aspect of environmental protection or conservation. I think the present COVID situation is a reminder that human health is linked to the health of the planet. And as you all know that there are debates and discussions going on and the theories propping up about the origin of coronavirus. And coronavirus is considered to be a zoonotic disease, a zoonotic virus, I mean, which is transmitted between animals and people. And it is considered to be one of the very, very deadliest and dangerous unheard diseases that the world has not ever seen or the world has not experienced so far. And the result of the coronavirus is the global recession. Of course, as we all know that the whole world is locked down and every inch on this earth is infected by this disease. And the whole world is coming to terms with the reality of coronavirus. And the whole world is trying its best in grappling with this reality and in trying to liberate itself from the clutches of this virus. I think there are many organizations which are involved, national and international organizations which are involved in cautioning the world. United Nations Environment Organization, UNEP, it has come out with a program, in reducing the threat of this coronavirus. And it has asked the whole world to be very, very particular about the global recession and the economic crisis, which will be the consequence of the attack of the coronavirus. And it has asked us to focus on the sustainable consumption, production, of course, environmental production and greenhouse practices, etc., etc. I think the terminology which is related to environmental sciences has to be used here, but I leave this aspect to be completely explored by the speakers of this webinar. But let me make you understand that the Secretary General of UN, in his clarion call, asking for the solidarity of the entire globe, has made it very, very clear that we are facing a global health crisis. And this global health crisis is unlike any other crisis that the world has ever seen in the past 75 years history of UN. And this is considered to be the primary reason for the human suffering right now. Primary reason for the recession of global economy. And it is the primary reason for taking away the lives of people on this earth. I think every nation in the world is completely, taken aback by this deadly virus because no nation has come forward with a particular, a program or with any kind of medical invention or with any kind of therapy to stop the, deaths of the people. And the deaths of the people in every nation is almost spontaneous, and it has been going on unabatedly, and the human race is struggling very hard in trying to resist itself from the invasion of these deadly diseases. Now, before the whole world, before any nation or before any, medical institute or research institute funded by the national and international organizations comes out with a vaccine or with a medicine or with a kind of therapy, I think we can only discuss the precautions that the whole has to, practice. I think it is where the aspects of environmental protection or protecting biodiversity or other aspects which are related to the subject of environmental science comes here. So I request the speakers to emphasize on these aspects and make the participants of this webinar to be completely aware of the aspects related to the protection of the world from the deadly virus. I think I don't have to particularly say it is because of the ecological imbalance, or it is because of the distortion of the environment, or it's because of the failure of the humanity in conserving the nature, in protecting the diversity of the planet of Earth. The whole world is facing this problem. If I say this, it would be a very general observation. And of course, any subject expert, if he is asked to speak during this situation on the coronavirus, the consequences of the coronavirus, will obviously speak about these things. So I'm requesting the speakers to contemplate very seriously and to debate very seriously on this particular aspect, and come out with a serious resolutions, where these resolutions could be forwarded to the state government and the central government on behalf of Acharya Nagarjuna University. So with these introductory observations, I once again congratulate the Department of Environmental Sciences of Acharya Nagarjuna University, especially the director of the seminar, Dr. Brahmaji Rao, and the convener of the seminar, Dr. A.V.S. Swami, and the young brigade of teachers in the department, Dr. Sheshdar, Subhashini, and other people for taking up this responsibility. I once again welcome everyone to this webinar on behalf of the university. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. The theme of this seminar is well said, our Vice Chancellor, sir. We are very happy to inaugural address can be given in proper message by the environmental conservation regarding ecological balance, biodiversity, and other aspects which are going to deliver by our resource person. I am very happy to give the opportunity to conduct a webinar on behalf of Acharya Nagarjuna University. Definitely, our webinar resolutions, we can make it and send it to our university to forward to the AFC and also the other government bodies. In this regard, I am once again thankful to you for participating in the national webinar. I am very happy, sir. Thank you very much for participating and giving a inaugural address. Thank you, sir. Now I request our faculty member, Dr. V. Subhashini, is introducing the resource person, Dr. Srinidhi Garu. Now I am inviting Dr. V. Subhashini.
It's my privilege to introduce the resource person of the today's webinar on environmental conservation, your social responsibility during COVID-19.
Yes, sir.
Jointly organized by
just a minute, Dr. Subhashini. Before you request the speaker to speak, I would like to express my gratitudes to our techno savvy, Dr. B. Nagakishore, who is helping the technical view of this webinar. Okay, sitting here and then making the proceedings of the seminar possible. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Good morning, one and all. It's my privilege to introduce the resource person of the today's webinar on environmental conservation, your social responsibility during COVID-19, jointly organized by the Department of Environmental Sciences, Acharya Nagarjuna University, and Center for Environmental Education and Development. Dr. N.S. Srinidhi, Assistant Professor, Forest College and Research Institute, Hyderabad. N.S. Srinidhi completed her post-graduation in environmental sciences from Usmania University, Hyderabad. She is working as Senior Project Coordinator, Council for Green Revolution, a non-governmental organization for environmental conservation, Hyderabad. She has published several research papers in reputed national and international journals. Ma'am has presented 50 research papers in national and international seminars. And also, she is a principal investigator the project on mapping of NTFP species of Telangana using geospatial technology funded by BioSat. And also co-principal investigator for the project on carbon sequestration potential of forest vegetation of the Medak Circle funded by BioSat. I welcome you, ma'am. Please join in the presentation.
Thank you, Subhashini Garu, for your warm welcome. Respected Professor Rajshekhar Garu, Vice Chancellor, Acharya Nagarjuna University. Respected Professor P. Varaprasad Murthy Garu, Rector. Professor K. Roshaya Garu, Register, Acharya Nagarjuna University. Dr. AVVS Swami Garu, Chairman, BOS of Department of Environmental Science. Matthew Sir, Academic Officer, Quality Assurance Cell, APSHE, and Professor S. Thorat from North Maharashtra University, and the convener of the webinar, Dr. Brahmaji Rao Garu, and the convener of the webinar, Shashidhar Garu, and all the distinguished speakers and guests and my dear participants. A warm good morning to you all. I am N.S. Srinidhi, Assistant Professor in the Department of Forest, Ecology and Climate Science, working in Forest College and Research Institute. Would like to thank the organizers for conducting this webinar, and I'm pleased to be invited as a speaker for this national webinar on environmental conservation, your social responsibility during COVID-19. So I'll share my screen. Subhashini Madam, is my screen visible?
Yes, madam. Proceed, madam. Please proceed.
Thank you, sir. So as the topic, the National Webinar on Environmental Conservation, your social responsibility during COVID-19, my content of my presentation is what exactly is environment and what do you mean by COVID, and what are the effect of COVID on environment? What are the different components that have been affected by COVID, whether it is the atmosphere, the hydrosphere, lithosphere, and the biosphere. And at the end, what is our social responsibility in this COVID pandemic situation? So as from school days, we have been studying what environment means to us and what it is exactly. So as the definition says, the surrounding or the conditions in which a person, animal, or a plant lives or operates. So in basically, we can say that whatever is present around us can be considered as the environment. So what is present in this environment? What are the different components in it? We have the atmosphere, we have the hydrosphere, lithosphere, and the biosphere. The atmosphere being the gaseous blanket that surrounds the earth, the percentage of water, which is 70% on the land, and soil and its components form the lithosphere. And the living organisms, which are nothing but the plant, animal, and microorganism, constitute the biosphere. So in general, if these all components are together functioning, then obviously we can say that we are having a better environment. So COVID, we have been hearing this from almost December onwards. So just a brief talk about this COVID-19. I know everyone is aware of it, but just for the sake of knowing again. So this coronavirus disease, which was known, is an infectious disease caused by severe acute respiratory syndrome, and it was first identified in December 2019 in Wuhan, China. And from then onwards, it's an ongoing pandemic. We know that the first case was confirmed on 17th November 2019, and from then onwards, if we take till yesterday, the count has been somewhere around 10 million where people have been affected by this COVID-19, and the number of deaths that have happened is 5 million. And the recovery rate is also 5.16 million. So this is this. These are the statistics given by the World Health Organization. Then when we talk about the Indian scenario, in India, the number of people with confirmed cases are about 548 and the new cases are 19,000, whereas the deaths have been 16. This is as of date till 29 June 2020. So what are the symptoms? People say it's the fever, cough, fatigue, shortness of breath, and loss of smell and taste. And this COVID situation has affected the entire globe, and it's now considered to be the pandemic. So this is the Indian scenario, the graphical representation, where in Jan and Feb there were no cases reported, but from March 31st onwards, the number of cases have increased exponentially. So when this COVID is impacting or if it is affecting the humans, what can be the effect on the environment? To start off, this coronavirus, a pandemic, is impacting the environment either in terms of the air, whether it can be the soil, the water, or the biodiversity. So these are the four components that we already discussed. And let's talk in detail about each component. So when you talk about the COVID on atmosphere, how it is affecting the atmosphere. So we can see that most of the places, if you take in and around the world, the air pollution has been a major impact. And during this COVID lockdown period, there have been satellite images which has shown that the air pollutant concentration has decreased, but it doesn't mean that the air is free of all the pollution. So the different gases emissions like the carbon dioxide, the aerosol, the suspended particulate matter, or the oxides of nitrogen, the concentration have decreased, but it doesn't mean that we are free from the air pollution. So these are few of the images which I could gather, wherein we can see most of the polluted cities like the Milan, Venice, and the New Delhi, where the pollution level has completely decreased during the lockdown period. So we know that in India, New Delhi is considered to be the most populous cities in the world, which was listed last year. But to our certain surprise, we can say that the pollution has decreased. Then there were even photos which were viral about the Himalayas, which were visible from Punjab, which is known to be about 200 kilometers from Punjab. And this happened in last 30 years. Before that, they could not see the Himalayas, but in the recent COVID situation, the Himalayas were visible. So this shows that there has been a positive impact on the environment by the COVID lockdown. So these are certain satellite images by the NASA where we can see the concentration of the aerosols. So from 2016 to 2020, you can see the concentration of the aerosols have been decreasing. So the blue shades indicate a lesser concentration, whereas the red indicate the higher concentration. So if you see in 2016, the concentration was high, but as it moved on to 2020, during this lockdown period, especially in the March and April, the aerosol concentration decreased. Then this is about the nitrogen dioxide.
Madam.
This, yes, sir.
కొద్దిగా వాల్యూమ్ పెంచండి మేడం, కొద్దిగా స్లోగా ఉంది. థ్యాంక్ యూ మేడం, ప్లీజ్ ప్రొసీడ్.
Sir, is it fine now, sir?
Yes madam, yes madam.
So if you take this again, the NASA satellite image, wherein it's a Sentinel-5B data, which shows the concentration of the nitrogen dioxide from January 1st January to 20th April 2020. So as the figures or the images state that the concentration has been decreasing drastically. That is during the lockdown period from 25th March to 20th April. Then this is about the particulate matter of size 2.5, where we can understand that in 2019, it was complete red shade, whereas in 2020, we see the blue shade. So it means that the concentration of particulate matter also decreased. So in general, what we can say that whether it is the concentration of the particulate matter or nitrogen dioxide, or it can be the aerosols, the concentration has decreased in this recent time of lockdown. So talking about the air quality index, the air quality index is nothing but it's a, what you can say, a platform wherein to communicate to public how polluted the air currently is or how polluted it can be, a forecast to be given. So if you take the air quality index last year on March 30th, In Delhi, it was 226, and in Hyderabad, it was 134. But on March 30th, 2020, the figures drastically decreased, and now the present scenario is that we are having only 62 air quality index in Delhi, whereas in Hyderabad, it is 80. So what is this general classification is based on? If it is from 0 to 50, then it is considered to be good. The air pollution or the air is considered to be good, having minimal impact. And so we can say that Chennai has reached that mark wherein we are having the air quality being good, and Hyderabad being a satisfactory, where minor breathing discomfort can be seen to the sensitive people. So these were the positive impacts, or you can say the direct impact that we were able to see, a clear atmosphere and all. But can there be an indirect effect on the environment also? Can COVID spread through the air? So there are certain studies being done on it, but certain scientific publications have provided initial evidence whether the COVID virus can be detected in the air and can there be an airborne transmission also. So WHO recommends that we need to follow the proper procedures of wearing a mask and having a proper social distancing, so that we will not be able to be infected by this COVID-19 due to the airborne transmissions. So the next component is that of the hydrosphere. So we all know hydrosphere is nothing but the amount of water that is present on the earth, which is about 71%. So there can be both direct and indirect impacts on this hydrosphere or on the water. The direct, we can say that the water quality has improved owing to the reduced industrial effluence, because there was lockdown for the complete industries also. So obviously the effluents released from these industries were not there, leading to a much better water quality. And the much investigation has to be also done in these terms. There was a journal, there was a publication in an international journal, which is COVID-19 and surface water quality improved lake water quality during the lockdown period by LEP Yunus. So this is the paper wherein he shows that how the suspended particulate matter in the lake called as Vemnad in Kerala, the largest lake in Kerala, has shown that the suspended particulate matter has decreased. So from 20th February, 15 days time period, he has gathered the information, and the satellite images show that the decrease in suspended particulate matter. Owing to that, this is because there were no industries functioning, and even the domestic wage, which was also a reason for this, was basically considered not to be the major reason for the pollution. So this is again, this is from 2013 to 2020. So what we can say by this is that the average percentage during the pre-lockdown period was 15.9% on average. So he saw that there was a decrease in 18 out of 20 zones. So he took the samples in 20 zones, and he found out that 18 of them were considered to be having a lesser SDM values. So the 11 zones showed that the concentration was lowest in April 2020. So out of the 7 years, the concentration was low in April 2020, that being during the COVID-19 situation. The next classical example that I would talk about is the Ganga. We all know that Ganga is considered to be sacred to India, and there have been many projects which have been done where this 2,500 kilometer stretch of river considered to be the important part of Indian history, identity, religious belief, and economy for thousands of years. But as time passed by, it became a dump yard for the untreated waste from sewage and even from the industries. And according to PCB, what they say is half of the wastewater treatment plants in the basin not comply with the discharge norms. So this can be attributed to the increased pollution of the Ganga. Since 1985, there have been several programs and schemes which have been launched to clean the Ganga, wherein the Ganga Action Plan followed by Ganga Action Plan 2. In 2015, we started the biggest ever initiative, that is Namami Gange, which was over a budget of 20,000 crores. Despite the numerous programs and huge fund, the Ganga still runs to be polluted. So what happened to the Ganga during this lockdown period or during this COVID situation? What we can see with the below image is that the water was clear and it was of very less pollution. I have statistical data relating to my status or my statement. So this is what the report which was submitted by the PCB in Down to Earth website, wherein they have gathered information on three places, which is the upstream of Ganga barrage, the downstream of Ganga barrage, and the Shukla Ganj. So you can see that the dissolved oxygen value is about 8 mg per liter, where before this lockdown period, it was somewhere around about 1 to 2. So during this time, we can say that the Ganga has been now pure, and if we can even take this water for drinking also, there will be no harm to us. But before the lockdown, yes, there was lots of pollution because of the industries, and even the major contributor for the Ganga pollution is that of the domestic sewage. But during this lockdown, yes, there was domestic sewage, but what we can understand by the values is that it is not because of the domestic sewage that the Ganga was polluted or the religious activities, but majorly it contributes to the industries which have been polluting it since ages. So this is one of the famous spot in Ganga where spiritual activities are done or religious activities are done. So now this water is so pure that you can directly drink from that river. So to summarize the positive impact, yes, the water is clear and it is free of pollution, but can there be spread of COVID through water is what we have to understand. There is not much research being done on this. There is this avenue is awaited by many researchers and students where they can understand really can water spread the COVID-19 or not. So the Central Center for Disease Control and Prevention and World Health Organization hasn't detected this in the drinking water as of now. But they have detected in stool and urine and other body fluids because we know that the COVID spreads through the nose and mouth droplets. So there are chances that the urine and other body fluids can also be a reason for the spread of coronavirus through the water. Next, the most important aspect is biodiversity. So during the lockdown, we shared many pictures which were viral, saying that we could see biodiversity getting back their freedom and enjoying a quieter world. But wherein we see the dolphins in Istanbul, then we see the dugong, about 30 dugong herd were seen, and we see cougar, flamingos returning back, and the wild boars crossing the road, and even certain curly pelicans also. So there were many such photographs which were shared on the internet stating the freedom of the animals, the wild animals. I think they were present before also, but we could not see them. But now we are able to see them because the roads are completely empty as well. So this COVID, how did it affect the biodiversity? The first thing was because the concentration was completely moved over to another aspect of human-centric, where we wanted to save our, our species, but people have given lesser importance to the biodiversity, where they could see the illegal land clearing and illegal poaching was also at high rates, and it derailed the ecotourism also. And a few of the countries wherein they have started sharing virtual safari and travel videos, so that most of the funds which they gather during this ecotourisms are what which maintains the parks or the the sanctuaries. So most of them are now in a situation wherein it is difficult for them to maintain the parks and the sanctuaries. But yes, they are trying other means wherein they can protect the biodiversity also. Recent time we have seen the deforestation in Amazon forest and even in Australia, where large acre of forest was destroyed by the forest fires. And there were even logging and mining operations seen in the Amazon rainforest during this COVID situation. So what are the indirect impact on biodiversity? Can the COVID spread through the biodiversity is also a big question, wherein the first report was done by a domestic cat in Belgium, which was tested to be positive, and it showed the symptoms of diarrhea, vomiting, and shortness of breath. Then there were instances where we could see the tiger and the lion in the New York Zoo, which were also tested positive, showing the symptoms of dry cough and loss of appetite. Then there were minks in Netherlands, which were also tested positive. The cats and the ferrets are known to be highly susceptible to the disease, whereas the dogs are considered to be less susceptible. So with this, we can understand that yes, there can be chances that our biodiversity can be affected by the COVID-19. So it makes us really, the need is there that we protect our biodiversity from getting harmed by the COVID. So how does it affect the lithosphere? So we have been using large amount of masks. Let's say from March onwards till this June month, we had used so many masks. Some people are using the washable mask and some people are using the disposable masks. So when we are using the disposable masks, obviously we should keep in mind that we are generating large amount of medical waste. Does our government provide us with that knowledge and what should be done to these masks? But we don't get that information, but people just throw these masks in a dustbin. So there are heavy chances that this mask can be a source of infection to the other people also, to the environment also. So then the other scenario what we can take is that of the culture of eating out fast food and takeaway has generated large amount of single-use plastic also. So this plastic or you can the online shopping that also has generated a large amount of plastic and cardboard waste. So during this lockdown, there was most amount of large amount of mass that was generated. The plastic that was generated, the cardboard which was generated, can also be an impact to the lithosphere. So about 7% of the cities are considered to be having 6 million tons of waste that generally end up in a landfill. So if these waste, that is the e-waste, is dumped in a landfill, then we cannot understand or we will be having a major impact on the environment because the pollution can increase from the landfill also. So we know that the masks are made from the type of a plastic and usually they are not biodegradable or they are not degradable at all. So they will be persistent in the environment for a longer period of time and hence causing major damage to the environment. So the hidden environmental cost of your online shopping. Yes, we think that online shopping is a good thing to do sitting at home and doing the online shopping, but consider the product which is manufactured somewhere else and it has to be brought to your place. So during this time, there is lots of carbon emissions, our carbon footprint increases. So yes, online shopping should be done, but if it is really needed, we can, or if it is not, we can just go to a local shop and buy things so that we can help the people who are struggling in this hard situation. So in the lockdown time, most of us would have experienced something called as not buying things which are not much useful to us. So here what I can say that is the sustainability which is affected by three threats, that is population explosion, consumerism, and over-exploitation of resources. These three or these two, that is consumerism and over-exploitation of resources, has decreased because our consumption was obviously decreased, leading to say that the demand has decreased. So yes, there is a chances that because of this lockdown, the overconsumption and over-exploitation of resources has decreased. So what we can say or what we can end with is people think that we are protecting themselves, but it is not just about protecting yourself. You need to protect everybody, and by not throwing away the mask properly, it is very selfish. So what I could say is next time if we are using a disposable mask or any other mask, we see to that is we are trying to dispose it in a safer way. So to end or to come to the basic topic of the webinar, which is our social responsibility to the society or to the environment. I have not said your social responsibility because it is my responsibility also during this COVID situation. So I'm saying it is our social responsibility, what we have towards the society and towards the environment. To start with the society, what we can say is...
Okay. Sorry.
Equipment కానీ బిల్డింగ్ కానీ మనం 35 crores యూస్ చేసుకుంటే 14 crores కి equipment
ఇప్పుడు 35 crores ఉందండి ఇప్పుడు
దానికి మనం 35 crores కూడా వాడాము
దాంట్లో 14 crores for equipment and building.
Hello. So, what is our social responsibility to the society? The first is that doing charitable deeds, all kinds of charitable acts such as volunteering, and we could see that during the lockdown period, many of the youth has come forward in serving the needy people. They have not just sit at the house, but they have helped the people who are really in need by providing the food and necessary groceries for the destitutes, for the old age people, for other needy people. The next is help the most vulnerable. Basically, the most vulnerable are people which are having other elements of health elements, or who are elderly. These people need more of our attention and support at this period of time. And to do donations in valid accounts. And if we are gathering funds, we see to that the funds are used locally, so that there is much impact that is created on the nearby society. So what is our social responsibility to the environment? The first thing that I would suggest is to reduce, reuse, and recycle. The 3 R's, which are very much important in every aspect of our life. Reduce your consumption, reuse whatever you have, and recycle whatever can be done. The next is usage of mask. Yes, I understand we need to have a mask, but are we following the proper protocol of using the mask? Instead of using a disposable mask, I suggest to use a rewashable mask. Yes, the water consumption also increases during this COVID time, because we have to maintain a personal hygiene. So keeping in mind that the water which we have is very precious, we might not get this water again. So instead of wasting it, if we use it wisely, then obviously we can even conserve, or we can help us not in depleting the water resources. Coming to the energy consumption, being in lockdown, we have used high amount of energy, whether it is the laptops, the mobiles, the TV. So there was the condition wherein the entire coal or the fossil fuels were used for our energy need. So if we can reduce our energy consumption, that will be also sharing a responsibility in conserving the environment. Reducing our online shopping, visiting a local store. If possible, if you are living in a rural area, or if you have any place in your house, you can go for kitchen gardening and compost preparation. There can also be a good way where we are sharing a responsibility to the environment. And at the end, I would just say that minimizing the amount of waste generation can also be a better solution. Then this coronavirus pandemic, which is creating a surge in renewable energy, has brought on suggestions that we should move our focus to a cleaner energy technologies, whether it can be the renewables, the efficiency batteries, hydrogen, and carbon capture can be the heart of the plans of the economic recovery. So if, as we have seen an economic shutdown, this using cleaner energy technologies can be a solution for the recovery, because this recovery can help in creating large amounts of jobs, and these cleaner energies are known to be more resilient and the future of us. So what the United Nations is saying to all the government is to seize the opportunity to build back better by creating more sustainable, resilient, and inclusive societies. So this is how the 9 million green jobs can be done each year. So if you see, the major sector is that in the buildings, then we have the power, which is the wind and the solar energy. Then we have the transport, the industries, and the fuels and innovations. So about 9 million jobs can be created by the cleaner technologies. So these are the references. So to conclude with, what I would like to say is, the pandemic situation has literally put a ban on free movement of citizens outside their home in order to avoid community transmission. The various religious, cultural, social, scientific support, sports, and political mass gatherings have been cancelled. Various types of industries are not functioning. The travels have been banned. Meanwhile, where we see the COVID-19 has brought an outstanding impact on the environment. This might be attributed to the non-functioning of the industries. The industrial waste emissions has decreased to a large extent. Vehicles are not moving on the road, so leading to lesser greenhouse gases emission. the toxic tiny suspendable matter in the environment has also decreased. Owing to that, the power in industries, the use of fossil fuels, the conventional energy resource has lowered considerably. So we can see that the ecosystem or the nature is getting recovered. But to what time? Do we sustain this? Do we try to protect our environment for the future generation also is a big question mark that we have, because now because of COVID, the lockdown, we could save our environment, but our action speaks more. So if we can continue what we have done in this past 3 months, then obviously the damage to the environment can be reduced to a much extent. So to conclude with, I can just say that the relevance of the action itself should justify its communication and at the same time convey our responsibility as a citizen, as a highly evolved species on Earth. Only if you are certain that you have acted in a truly relevant way that we emphasize what we have done. Remembering that in this situation, action speaks more than words. I would like to thank Dr. Brahmaji Garu, the convener of the program, Dr. Shashidhar Garu, the director of the program, Brahmaji Garu, the convener of the program, Shashidhar Garu, and Manchana Lingaswamy, for giving me this opportunity to share my views on the environmental conservation, your social responsibility during the COVID-19. Thank you, one and all. I would just end with one quotation which says, I alone cannot change the world, but I can cast a stone across the water to create many ripples. And I think that whatever I have shared today would have created a ripples among few of you. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you, Madam Srinidhi Garu. Good presentation regarding to the COVID-19 environment issues. Some of the participants are very general questions are asked. I hope you are posed by one or two questions from the participants, Madam.
Yes.
Madam, actually during the COVID-19, the global environmental scenario is totally somewhat different. The index of the environmental index, how it can be measured with the help of the climate change or global warming. Some of the people asked this type of questions.
So,
yes, you can share your.
Most of the data that we have relating to global warming is that the air pollutants in the atmosphere. So we have this data already provided by the Central Pollution Control Board. So if we can get access to that data, then obviously we can contribute or we can understand what is the scenario of global warming also, wherein we can make use of the air quality index.
Okay, okay, Madam. Regarding IPCC, is there any data is provided during this COVID-19 scenario, the lockdown, particularly?
Yes, sir. I could not get much information on the IPCC, sir, but more of the information has been shared by the Central Pollution Control Board and World Health Organization, but not much by the IPCC, sir.
Okay, okay, okay. Nice, Madam. Thank you on behalf of Acharya Nagarjuna University for your good presentation and also the some of the issues.
Sir, excuse me, sir.
Yes, yes. Tell me.
నేను క్వశ్చన్ మేడం అడిగాను ఓజోన్ లేయర్ ఇప్పుడు ఎంత వరకు మనకు ఫేవర్ అయింది మేడం దగ్గర అడుగుతాను
ఓజోన్ లేయర్
yes ఈ COVID-19 లో మేడం శ్రీనిధి మేడం I think she left away. శ్రీనిధి మేడం
హలో
మేడం సరఫోజీ మేడం డాక్టర్ సరఫోజీ ప్రిన్సిపల్ ఆదిత్య కళాశాల ఫిజికల్ ఎడ్యుకేషన్ మేడం
yes sir
ఇప్పుడు ఓజోన్ లేయర్ ఎంత వరకు మనకు హ్యూమన్ ఫేవర్ అయింది మేడం ఈ COVID-19 లో
సార్ కోవిడ్ అప్పుడు ఓజోన్ లేయర్ కూడా హీల్ అయినట్టు విన్నాం సార్ ది ఓజోన్ హోల్ ఏదైతే ఉందో అది ఇట్ వాస్ సీన్ దట్ ది థిక్నెస్ ఆఫ్ ది ఓజోన్ హోల్ వాస్ ఇంక్రీజ్డ్ దట్ I'm sure but I don't know the statistical data to what extent it is sir.
Okay, thank you so much madam, fantastic madam.
Okay, thank you Sarbaji garu for asking a good question. Thank you Srinidhi madam for your good presentation.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, madam. Thank you. Okay, now I request Dr. V. Subhashini is introducing the next speaker, GM Srirangam Garu, to introduce the next resource person, GM Srirangam Garu. I welcome to Dr. V. Subhashini.
Sri G. Matthew Sriram Garu, Academic Officer, Quality Assurance Cell, AP State Council of Higher Education. Head Department of Zoology, Andhra Laylo College, Vijayawada. Coordinator, Department of Food Technology and Department of Paramedical and Hospital Administration. Coordinator, RUSA, NAC and NIRF. He served the college in various capacities like Academic Secretary for 13 years, Dean Administration for 6 years, IQSC Coordinator from 2004 to 15. Sir has conducted several workshops on faculty professional development, college autonomy, choice-based credit system, NAC assessment and accreditation. Sir has conducted 11 national conferences as organizing secretary. He is expert in curriculum design and development, skill development programs, massive open online courses. He has published several research papers in reputed national and international journals and 23 popular articles in national and international level. I welcome you, sir. Please join in the seminar presentation.
Sir, I request to please share your screen, sir. Sir, Sarboji, sir. Hello? Hello? Sarboji, sir.
సార్ co-host screen share చేసుకోవచ్చు.
Sir, I request Dr. Matthew, sir, please share your screen, sir.
మాథ్యూ సార్ మైక్ ఆన్ చేసుకుంటుంది. సార్
సార్ మ్యాథ్యూ సార్ మీరు మ్యూట్ లో ఉన్నారు.
మ్యూట్ లో ఉన్నారు, అన్మ్యూట్ చేసుకోండి. సార్ డైరెక్ట్ జూమ్ పోయినాను, పవర్ పాయింట్ కలగకుండా జూమ్ పోయినాను. రాజు
సార్
సార్ అన్మ్యూట్ చేస్తా. డాక్టర్ మెథడ్ సార్ ప్లీజ్ అన్మ్యూట్ సార్. Sir, I have given a request to please unmute, sir. Matthew, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, good morning to you all. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Hello?
Sir, sir, audible, sir.
Yes,
sir,
yes.
Please share your screen, sir.
So much at the outset, I would like to thank the Department of Environmental Sciences of Acharya Nagarjuna University for giving me a chance to participate in this particular webinar, which is more appropriate at this particular point of time. Now, without wasting much of the time, I would like to get into the topic given to me.
Matthew sir, do you like to present the PowerPoint, sir? Matthew sir, please unmute, sir. Matthew sir, please unmute. Have muted yourself, sir, please. Sir. Matthew sir, mute lo undaru, sir.
Sir, please unmute yourself.
Raju?
అన్న సార్ ఎవరికి ఫోన్ చేస్తున్నారు మీకు ఒకసారి మ్యాథ్యూ సార్ చేస్తున్నారు.
రాజు పవర్ పాయింట్ ఉంది అలాగే.
అదే ఒకసారి సార్ రికార్డ్ ఆపేసేయండి. సర్బో సార్ ఒకసారి సార్కి రిక్వెస్ట్ చేయండి అన్మ్యూట్. హలో సార్ మీరు అన్మ్యూట్ చేసుకోండి సార్, మీ కో హోస్ట్ ఇచ్చాము. ఓకే సార్, ఓకే.
రాజు కెన్ యు హియర్ మీ రాజు?
సార్ ఎస్ సార్.
ఓకే.
Hear me now?
Yes sir. Sir, please share your screen, sir. Okay.
Sharing the screen. Are you able to see the screen?
No sir, it's processing, sir.
Sir, I would like to present the PowerPoint, sir.
Are you able to see the screen?
Yes, sir. Now it's open, sir. Please maximize it, sir.
Hello?
Yes, sir. Please maximize, sir. Maximize the screen, sir. Yes, sir. No. Here, sir. Here. It's opening now. Sir, please maximize, sir. Yes, sir. Very good, sir. Yes, sir.
Are you able to see the screen now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine.
Okay, sir. Please
Now,
proceed.
Now, let me go into the topic straight away. Now, the topic I was given is the citizen responsibility towards environmental conservation. Now, I would like to add this integral ecological conversion. Now, when we talk about this citizen responsibility towards environmental conservation, let us go into the constitutional rights, what the Constitution of India has given us. The directive principles of state policy casts a duty upon every state that it shall endeavor to protect and improve the environment and to safeguard the forests and wildlife of the country. Further, it is a fundamental duty of every citizen. Let me stress this. It is a fundamental duty of every citizen to protect and improve the natural environment, which includes forests, lakes, and wildlife, and to have compassion for living creatures. So, the citizen responsibility is enshrined within the fundamental duty of every citizen. Now, we are the ones who have to protect the nature and also to improve the natural environment. And while we are protecting and improving the natural environment, we also need to have a compassion for the living creatures. The fundamental right to life enshrined in Article 21 of the Constitution has been expanded by judicial interpretation also. That is, we have the right to clean, healthy, and pollution-free environment. When we have the fundamental right of having a clean, healthy, and pollution-free environment, my question is, are we not supposed to have the responsibility of maintaining this clean, healthy, and pollution-free environment? Now, the doctrine of the sustainable development, the polluter pays, and the precautionary principle were all first acknowledged by the judiciary in more recent environmental legislation, that is the National Green Tribunal Act 2010. So now, when we have a fundamental duty, when we have a fundamental right, when we have to go for the sustainable development, also, since we are the polluters, we need to pay for the pollution. Now, maybe the previous speaker had highlighted some of the advantages what COVID had given for the environment, and also on the destruction of the environment. Now, it is our principle, or it is our fundamental duty to improve the natural environment, to protect the natural environment, and have a compassionate commitment towards our own living creatures. Along with us, there are several living creatures. So we need to have a compassion, we need to have love towards these living creatures. And it is a fundamental right of every citizen to have what is called as a right to clean, healthy, and pollution-free environment. With the COVID-19 pandemic bringing to a near standstill the global economy and the prospects of a new normal still being determined, the post-COVID-19 economic and ecological recovery will need an integral ecological conversion as well. So with this particular COVID situation, after the COVID situation, maybe in the post-COVID also, we need to recover the economy as well as the ecology. If you need to recover the economy as well as the ecology, you need to have an integral ecological conversion. Now, what is this integral ecological conversion? First, let us understand what is integral. Do we live integrally in the environment? This is my question. It's a rhetoric question which doesn't require any answers. Now, what is integral? Are we living integrated with integrated life with the environment? Are we really integrating ourselves with the environment? If at all, if we are integrated with the environment in which we are living, so we need to have the protection as well as improvement of the environment. If we are not thinking of being an entity, being within the environment, we don't have the right to enjoy the benefits of the environment which it gives. So first thing is we need to understand whether we are integrated or integrating our life with that of the environment. Now, how many of our children know that from where the water comes? From where the water comes? Most of the children, though we start teaching environmental science, environmental education, right, be in the primary level itself, but still not many students are quite aware of, not many young minds are quite aware of conserving the water resources, how to prevent polluting ourselves, polluting the water resources. Now, these are certain key elements which we need to integrate ourselves, integrate our life with the environment. Now, when I say this particular citizen responsibility towards environmental conservation needs integral ecological conversion. What I mean by conversion here means that conversion means you can see and feel the changes in yourself now in relation to where you were before. So first of all, we need to know what are the changes we need to make, what are the changes we need to bring into our system of life in relation to where we are before. Maybe if you go, say, 20-30 centuries back, you may not be, we may not be having this much of pollution, Now, how we are going to make ourselves like what we were before, Even the SDGs, the sustainable developmental goals concerning with the environment also deals with this, or any other environmental summits also try to influence us to go back to certain areas where the pollution levels are less. So here we need to first get ourselves integrated with the environment, and at the same time we need to convert ourselves, we need to change ourselves in relation to where we were before. Now, building and integrate ecology into the economy. How do you enforce the integral ecological conversion is by means of building and integrating ecology into the economy. We need to have a transition from an extractive to a circular economy. All our economy is turning around the ecological concerns also. Economists are taught to think of ecological problems as market failures. Whatever ecological problem that is encountered, it is being considered by the economists as market failures. Problems in the environment, such as pollution, are explained away as negative externalities. Like, say, for example, depletion of fish stocks or forest degradation are viewed as tragedy of the commons. So it is being, economies, they are viewing the ecological problems more as a market failure rather than the what is called as the environmental influence, or how we are degrading the environment and how this degraded environment is playing with the ecology, with the economy of the country on the whole. Now, there are also paradigms. These are also paradigms where conversion has to happen. When I say conversion, conversion also has to happen in such type of paradigms. We need to be reminded that economy, ecology, and ecosystem share the same root word oikos. Oikos in Greek means home. Whether it is economy, economy is what is called as the oikos is house, our own house. How we are economizing, how we are spending our money, how we are budgeting, everything concerned about the house. Okay, house is a very limited entity. Maybe when you grow large, it goes into the community, it goes into the society, it goes into that of the state, it goes into that of the country, and finally it is the world economy. But starting with the home, ecology is also derived from the same root word oikos, means again home. How we are interacting within ourselves within the home. That is, say for example, if you say the biotic factors, how we are interacting with the other living organisms, how we are interacting within our house with our fellow inmates, be it your what is called as within your house, your own people of the house, or maybe your neighbors, how we are interacting. And when we are to stay comfortably in a house, not only we need to have a good interaction with the people within the house or surrounding the house, but also with the environmental factors. So whether it is economy or whether it is the ecology or the ecosystem, they share the same root word oikos, means the house. Now again, coming back to this building and integrating ecology into the economy, uncontrolled exploitation of natural resources was never part of the original meaning of the word economy, as it originally meant stewardship, thrift, or good household management. As I said, the oikos means the house. The nomos are the budgetary things. Like, we are meant to steward the household management. Whether you get 1 lakh rupees or maybe 10,000 rupees or 1 crore, whatever it might be, how you are managing that particular amount in order to maintain your house. So this particular economy is now trying to change the what is called as the natural resources or the environment. So we need to build and integrate the ecology into the economy. For the sake of economy, for the sake of getting good profits, for the sake of increasing the economic standards, we are exploiting the natural resources. And it's not the mere exploitation, it is said to be uncontrolled exploitation. Thus, the concept of economy only makes sense if it includes ecology, and if we equitably distribute resources from our common home, what is our common home? Our common home is nothing but our Mother Earth. Mother Earth is our common home. Common home not only for us, but for all the living creatures. As I said, we need to have compassion for the living creatures. We need to live along with the living creatures. So this uncontrolled exploitation of natural resources is going to, maybe it may increase your economy maybe twofold or threefold at the time given, but over a period of time, when the natural resources are being overexploited, automatically the economy also get disturbed. So in order to have integral ecological conversion, the first and foremost thing, what I would like to say is to build and integrate ecology into the economy. So ecology and economy should not be treated as separate entities. You need to integrate, you need to amalgamate the ecology into the economy. So unless and until you have a controlled exploitation of the ecology or controlled exploitation of the natural resources, maybe the economy of the country, the economy of the world cannot grow in future. Otherwise, there will be doldrums for what is called as the economic condition of the future. So the first and foremost thing for integral ecological conversion is building and integrating ecology into the economy. Then uncontrolled exploitation for the common home. Then you have what are called as monetary conditionalities. The fiscal and monetary conditionalities should be aligned with national commitments to sustainable development goals. So every one of us need what is called as a good financial background, a good financial status in order to have what is called as a comfortable life. Now, this particular fiscal as well as monetary conditionalities should always be aligned with the national commitments towards sustainable developmental goals. And when I say sustainable developmental goals, particularly I'm referring to the SDGs 11 to 15, that is the sustainable cities and communities, responsible consumption and production, as well as climate action, life below water, and life on land. So there should be integration of ecology and economy basing on alignment of monetary conditionalities. Okay, by exploiting the forest, by exploiting the life below the water, by exploiting the life on land, we may have good monetary benefits. But it should be aligned with the national commitments. When we talk about the sustainable developmental goals, particularly towards what is called as sustainable cities and communities, responsible consumption and production of natural resources, the climate change that is taking place, and also the life within us. Now, this is the first thing. What is to be integrated is integration of ecology into the economy, number one. Number two is what is to be integrated is a green lifestyle. A green lifestyle. What do you mean by a green lifestyle? Adopting a lifestyle that helps the environment. Green lifestyle is adopting a lifestyle that helps the environment. Now, again, coming back to the economic fiscal, what is called as conditionalities, maybe because of the economic conditions prevailing, we are using more of automobiles. Now, basically, you are talking about unleaded petrol, all these things are there. But still, with unleaded petrol or with unleaded things, you have what is called the, one second. Okay, so I got muted now. So a green lifestyle includes adopting a lifestyle that helps the environment. So whatever lifestyle we are having, instead of depending more on technology, maybe creating a lot of e-waste and all, we need to adopt a lifestyle that helps the environment. Then we are also increasing the carbon footprint. Now our lifestyle, our green lifestyle should be able to reduce the carbon footprint and keep the air, water, as well as all other environmental conditions under control. So how do we reduce the carbon footprints? Every one of us know how to reduce the carbon footprints and all. So unless and until we reduce the carbon footprints, we may not be able to go for a green lifestyle. Then engaging in good environmental citizenship by keeping the wastes down to a minimum in our home. Maybe whatever be the garbage that is being created, whatever be the e-waste that is being generated in our house or maybe in offices, if we are good environmental oriented citizens, we need to keep the waste down. So adopting a lifestyle that helps the environment, adopting or maybe reducing our carbon footprints, and engaging in good environmental citizenship by keeping the waste down to a minimum will be able to provide us with a green lifestyle that has to be integrated into the ecological conversion. Next, what is to be integrated again? Participating in environmental decision making. This is one of the gray area. Whenever we have what is called as any environmental decisions that are to be taken. Now, whether we are as a real citizen, as an environmental oriented citizen, whether we are participating in this environmental decision making. See, public participation in the decision making process with reference to the environmental decision making process, public participation, whether it is a myth or a reality. In reality, as a citizen, how many of us are really participating ourselves in the decision making process? Even as all of us know, whenever a new industry is being started or whenever a new project is being brought into picture, there is what is called as a lot of public opinion being gathered. But while the public opinion is being gathered, whether we volunteering ourselves to the decision making process. Not many of us realize the importance of the citizens or the public in participation in the environmental decision making. Now, what I suggest here is that whatever be the thing with reference to environment, it should start with the community planning. Community planning is within a particular smaller community, which then has to percolate, like it's a bottom-up approach. Bottom level is community, and at the highest level, you have the state or the country or the world. So we need to start ourselves by participating in the decision-making process in developing a clean and green community. So community planning has to be part and parcel where we need to participate in the planning process. And also participation in environmental impact assessment. Now, even now the students are going to be exposed to this environmental impact assessment through our regular what is called as course curriculum. Environmental impact assessment is going to be part and parcel of the curriculum of the degree programs. When once the students are aware of what is environmental impact assessment, what is the benefit out of environmental impact assessment, automatically the participation of young students will be there in the environmental decision making. Then, if we have to participate in environmental decision making to make it as an integral to ecological conversion, do we have access to environmental information? How many of the citizens or how many of the young minds, how many of the learned community have access to environmental information? How many of us really know the levels of pollution of our own village or our own town or our own city? Do we have access to the environmental information? When once you have the access to the environmental information, automatically a good citizen towards environment or environmental conscious citizen will also know how to control this particular pollution. So what I feel is if you need to participate in environmental decision making, you also need to have the access to environmental information and also access to justice in environmental matters. How many of us really know about the rules or the laws that are prevailing for protecting the environment? Be it state laws, be it the central laws, be it the global laws. So even the young students or maybe the learned personnel should also have access to this justice to environmental matters. Now, thus, for the citizenship responsibility towards environmental concentration should have these three major things: building and integrating ecology into the economy, having a green lifestyle, and participating in environmental decision making. What is the future we want? What is the future we want? This public health crisis is giving us a chance to imagine our economic trajectory to make it more inclusive and sustainable. Maybe this particular COVID crisis is giving us a chance to reimagine our economic trajectory to make it more inclusive and sustainable. Okay, we need to have a future with good economy, and at the same time, the economy, what we are looking into the future, should be more inclusive of the environmental concerns and should be having a sustainable environment. So it should have a realignment of an inclusive environment and a sustainable environment with that of the economy. This is the future what we want. We are not bogged down only with our what is called as economic concerns. Maybe after the lockdown of several months, maybe 3 months are over, lot of economic doldrums are there. But at the same time, when we are regaining, when we are coming back to our economic folds, we need to make the environment, inclusive environment and sustainable environment be aligned with the economic trajectory. We should not always, concentrate on the triple B. Triple B usually stands for build, build, build. But what type of building, what type of economic build is necessary, what type of building up of the economy is necessary is building back better. We need to build our economy, we need to build our community, we need to build our ecology, we need to build our environment to have a better back, or building back better is it should be the buzzword of rebuilding our economy. It's not building back the economy, we need to build back better. So these are some of my own observations about the citizenship responsibility towards environmental conservation through the integral ecological conversion, which encompasses alignment of economy with ecology, the green lifestyle, and also the participation, people participation in ecological decisions making process. So this is what I would like to share some of my ideas with you all. Now the floor is open for any of the questions.
Thank you.
Yes, to unmute you.
Thank you, GM Srirangam Garu, for presenting a citizen's role during the COVID-19 time. Particularly Article 21 and the monitoring bodies like a pollution control board and central pollution control boards and National Green Tribunal. These are all doing their responsibilities. In the meanwhile, what is the role of citizenship?
Yes, any questions, sir?
Just 2 or 3 questions I am asking. You are mentioning the circular economy. So circular economy. The role of circular economy is the citizen's role.
There is there in the chat box, there are certain few questions. Let me take a few of them.
Okay. First one is the circular economy. You are mentioned the circular economy.
Yes, circular economy.
The citizens role in circular economy, particularly in the present scenario, the citizens are not
See,
so
circular economy, what I mean is not with reference to the economic conditions here. Circular economy should be like taking from the environment, giving it back to the environment. As environmentalists, we say reduce, recycle. We are reducing and recycling the waste. Maybe give, take and give. So that way you can have a circular economy where there is but building up as well as promote circular economy, which is again aligned with the environment.
Okay. Particularly the circular economy is one of the present.
There is another question: how will change human negative attitude on environment? See, as a citizen, I have first started this particular thing with quoting the fundamental right as well as fundamental duty. See, unless the motivation is there, the intrinsic motivation as well as extrinsic motivation. So what is that we are leaving for the future? Today I enjoy the environment. Today I exploit the environment. Today I exploit the natural resources. But what is that I am leaving back to the future generations? So unless and until this particular idea of what is that to be given back to the society, what is that to be left for the future generations, if every one of us feel maybe to some extent the negative attitude, our negative attitude towards the environment could be limited to some extent. I don't say that we will be completely negating that particular negative attitude, but still we should control the negative attitude to some extent.
Okay. Thank you, Srirangam. There are several questions. You are given an excellent presentation, particularly regarding to the citizenship role, and given some of the buzzwords like circular economy and national commitment, and also the economic trajectory.
Sir.
These are the new words which we are supposed to.
మెయిల్ పంపించేస్తాను సార్. ఇప్పుడు నేను ఒక 5 minutes సార్, అయిపోయింది. ఇంకా ఒక్క 5 minutes సార్, ఒక్క 5 minutes సార్.
Okay, thank you for giving the presentation in a good manner, and also the integral ecological conversions, particularly the public as well as the people. In an interdisciplinary approach, you are giving the excellent presentation. On behalf of Acharya Nagarjuna University and Department of Environmental Sciences, we are express my gratitude and thank you for a nice presentation. Thank you. Thank you, Sridhar.
Raju? Raju?
Sir, one second. Sir. Screen share. ముగ్గురు పేరు don't leave the సార్ ఓకేనా స్క్రీన్ పెద్దయిందా హలో సార్ హలో
Raju, okay.
ఓకే సార్
Okay, okay.
Hello. Thank you. Now I'm happy to introduce Dr. Sunita, C.H. Sunita, who was introducing our colleague as well as the resource persons of the national webinar, Dr. A.V.S. Swami Garu. Now I invite Dr. C.H. Sunita to introduce the A.V.S. Swami.
Good afternoon to one and all. I am Dr. Sunita, Faculty, Department of Environmental Sciences, Acharya Nagarjuna University. We invite you people to webinar on environmental conservation, your social responsibility during COVID-19. I feel honored to invite my teacher, great personality, and great academician, last but not least, Dr. Swami Garu, Chairman, BOS, Department of Environmental Sciences, Acharya Nagarjuna University. I would like to give brief information about Swami sir. Sir obtained PhD on wildlife of Eastern Ghats from Andhra University. Sir joined as faculty in ANU in the year 1994. He has published 180 research papers in national and international journals. And also he presented more than 200 papers in national and international seminars. Sir conducted 7 national seminars and 2 UGC refresher courses. He provided 12 PhDs and 9 MPhils under his guidance. He has served the government of AP in various positions like AP Pollution Control Board member and AP CRDA, and he was a life member of National Environmental Sciences Academy, and also a joint secretary for Congress for Indian Environment, life member in Natural Conservators, and also a research person to World Wildlife Fund. I welcome you, sir. Please join the webinar. Thank you to one and all.
Good afternoon, all of you, dear friends. So today, I want to present before you the important component of the environment, air. And in the present situation of COVID-19, so how air is going to influence our quality of life, and the background of maintenance of the quality of air in the home environment as well as the ambient environment. I will briefly touch the first, the composition and the behavior of the ambient air, particularly here we have the gases and suspended particulate matters primarily in the atmosphere. And these particular suspended particulate matters have a very wide application, the influence on the human life. If you see, so many people, we strongly believe that air pollution is the cause of so much pollution in the atmosphere. But even without this thing, we have the statistics on the disasters or the hazards in the commonplace. So the smokers, they about risk to the 10 members in every 1,000. The all kinds of cancer put together, about 2 persons per 1,000. The firefighters, like that, we have the risk of life for 2.5 people in every 10,000 people by the air pollution. And the motor vehicles, 1.6 per 10,000. The alcohol consumption, 6.4 per 1 lakh. The peanut butter, 4 teaspoons per day. It risks you about 1 lakh, 1.3 in 1 lakh people. Swimming, like that, so many activities are there. And the excess chlorine or the excess chlorine we give in waters, drinking water supply to disinfect the drinking water. Also, if released in excess quantities, it will remain in the water as a chloroform, which causes about 7 risks for every 1 lakh people. So, while adding the disinfectant to the drinking water, one should be very careful, otherwise the excess chlorine will be remaining in the drinking water as a chloroform. You know why chloroform is used, how it helps there. Medicinally. But if neglected, that will harm the health of the people. And in the early of this century, 21st century, there was a survey conducted by the developed countries, which have identified, ranked all the hazards, different hazards, and out of which the active hazardous waste sites, that means the industrial waste sites, dumping sites, occupied the first position in the survey. The abandoned hazardous waste sites, So sites already identified and filled occupied the second position in this survey. The water pollution by the industry, occupational exposure to toxic chemicals, oil spills, destruction of ozone layer, the nuclear power plant accidents, all these things, they were given ranks. And the radiation from the radioactive wastes occupied the 9th position. Air pollution by the industry, 10th position. 10th rank was given. And municipal solid wastes were given 13th rank. And the vehicular pollution, we all know, we all experience every day. Even it is the same thing is experienced by the developed countries also. It was given 17th rank. And global warming, 18th rank. The indoor air pollution among the European countries, the people have given it the 26th rank. 26th rank. So that has become, the indoor air pollution has become is identified by the common people as the pollutant. So here is one question we have. So why we earn money, why we speak of the quality, and with living the highest quality, how we invite or how we are prone to indoor air pollution. So that's also we are going to discuss in the coming few minutes. And in the United States, the air pollution ranked 4th after the solid waste sites, ranked 4th. The United States, among all Indians, we can say, among all Indians, the United States stand for the cleanliness. But still people feel that it is the indoor air is severely polluted. And if we go 50 years back, 1972, the Stockholm Conference is said to be the beginning of the worldwide activities on the conservation of environment. And the 6 common air pollutants were identified in the long back in 1972 itself. The oxides of sulfur, oxides of nitrogen, carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, hydrogen sulfide, and suspended particulate matter, in which we, in this present lecture, we give priority to this one. SPM, suspended particulate matter. So all these things are to be reduced within 20 years. The target was set in 1972, and in 1992 at the summit it was again reviewed, and more than 1 billion pounds of toxic pollutants were prevented. Toxic air emissions reduced by 39% by the turn of the century. Since 1970, worldwide, about 230 pesticides and 20,000 related or intermediates are banned. So because these pesticides are already identified as what we call the persistent chemicals, because their half-life period is very long and they live, and if it happens to enter into the human beings, it remains in the human body, in various organs, get deposited in various organs, continue to accumulate as long as we continue to eat or consume the similar products, and which lead to cancers. So about so many pesticides, of course, no doubt. In India, most of these pesticides are also still in use because of our economy, purchase capacity, or whatever it is. We are unable to go to the cleanest pesticides, use the cleanest pesticides. And the recycling and recovery, which is worldwide accepted, but very difficult, with very great difficulty, from 7% in 1972 it was achieved only to the 28% in 1998. About after 25 years also, the growth in the or the coverage of the recycling and recovery was very negligible. The target is fixed for 2010 to achieve 35%. So recognizing the difficulty in recycling and recovery, next 15 years target was fixed at 35%, only the 7% hike. 7% hike. And indoor air pollution, the developing countries are the prime affected parties. About 3.5 billion people in the developing countries are affected. The 4 major diseases, lung cancer, bronchitis, asthma, and gastroenteritis. So these are the 4 diseases that has contributed, that were contributed by the indoor air pollution. Even without our knowledge, we have been subjected to various diseases, the chronic and acute. The women have 75 times higher risk than men, because in India, particularly in Indian case, and as with the developing countries also, most of the women are housewives. So they remain at home and they are exposed to these chemicals or whatever it is, the byproducts of our activities at home, and they are exposed to more time. Their exposure time is higher than the men, and also fortunately the children. So that way we should thank the schools by taking them from the homes, taking the children from the homes by 8 o'clock and keeping them with the schools up to 6:30 or 7 o'clock in the evening. That has lessened the chance, the chance of exposure to the indoor air. That way we should thank to the corporate schools. The fumes from the kitchens, the base health manufacturing unit of the house. These kitchens release so many fumes, vapors, and which are again inhaled by the women and the household. The indoor firehouses, fumes from the cleaners, the floor cleaner, toilet cleaner. So like that we use so many chemicals at the house. So all these things, they continue to release the vapors. So because when we are feeling that smell, feeling that smell means that the chemical is still in our house. So you are exposed to, you are inhaling, which affects the nervous system. So we will go to details of all these things. Air fresheners. So most of these air fresheners we use out of the craze. It will not add any aesthetics to your home. It will not really freshen your health. Because if you spray something in the air, that will remain in the air for some time. And I will tell you also how they remain in the atmosphere and all, how can we go along with it. So the 5 air fresheners, which are not necessary at all, but we will be using out of the lifestyle. And smoking, the sprays and pesticides, the body spray, like that, so many things, deodorants. So like that we are using so many things, and also we are using pesticides to kill the mosquitoes, cockroaches, and so many things. They remove the lizards and all. We have been using, like that. This list I have given now have crept into our lifestyles. Actually, if we are a little bit careful, we need not use all these things. But so the lifestyle, our lifestyle, so most of the things using like what we call the spray, body spray and all. So it is only for the craze. to show the others our lifestyle and all these things. We are using so many chemicals, and all these chemicals remain in the home for so many hours in a day. So every day, if you are continuing using this spray, that will remain. So if you just the office going husband just sprays the body spray on him, and he will go out to the office, and whoever they may be, the old people, the housewife, and all these things, they remain in the home, inhaling all this throughout the day. So this will aggravate the problem. This will aggravate the problem, and all the problems also will look one by one. So, so this is the gist of what I wanted to tell you. And now if we go to the matter. So any matter that is kept suspended in the air is referred to as the suspended particulate matter. Suspended particulate matter. So this particulate matter need not be a dust particle or a solid particle. That is what I want to emphasize. The matter that is kept suspended in the air, it may be a liquid form, maybe the solid form, or the even gaseous also. Gases also, they remain suspended. So when any object will suspend in a medium, because both the density of this particular solid material or the liquid or these things, the density of air and the density of the particulates, both are equal. They are kept hanging in the air. So if the dust particles are fine, they remain in the atmosphere in the suspended condition. They travel along with the air. Similarly, the liquid particles, this is what we experience in the form of the relative humidity, and also the gases released by the atmosphere, gases released by our domestic activities and all. So all these things, on entering into the major medium, that is air, they will not settle to the bottom, or they will not just run away. So the dispersion of these solid, liquid, and gaseous particles, say, it depends on the density and the velocity of the air. So in this process, the fine particles, they are suspended in the air for long period. Also, they tend to travel along with the air and also travel for long time, long distances. So now if you look at the particles that are mingled with air, the particles that are mingled with air, which has more potential of say what we call they interfere with the health of the human beings, is called, say, in the activity, metallurgical activity, in the process of extracting the mineral, the manganese, iron, there's so many processes. The underground mining or these things, they release particles with varying diameters, 0.001 to 100 microns diameter. That's metallurgical. So tobacco smoke, 0.01 to 1.10. And the smog, photochemical smog, or the reducing smog, they have the particles about 0.01 to 1.2 micron diameter. And the sea salt sprays, which in the coastal areas, they are very common. And this sea salt spray also has 0.02 to 0.18 microns in diameter. The salts that are coming along with the wind through evapotranspiration in the sea waters reach the mainland. So they are deposited on the mainland object. So these things, and likely oil smoke by the diesel, say for example, all the diesel vehicles release the fly ash, and also in the droplets, fine droplets of the oil, unburnt oil. So this we call generally the soot particles. So this you can see whether they are released or not, or this thing at the traffic junctions. Most of the vehicles, they keep on rising and all, rising, releasing smoke, excess smoke, and the dividers at the traffic junctions, they are blackened. You cannot see the original colors painted to them. So this is the oil particles. So those who are experiencing the traffic jams, they are frequently exposed to this kind of the oil-filled dust particles, and their lungs will be affected by this. Next, painted pigment. Painted pigment. Paint pigments, say the pyretes, so they are 0.128 microns. So the size of this particulate of what we call the pigment, if the size of the pigment particle is larger, the paint will be of low grade, because the paint and the turpentine oil, which is used as the medium, so this can be, these two are separated very shortly. So if you purchase this cheap quality pigments, say very few weeks, when we open it, we find the pigment on the bottom and the turpentine oil at the surface. So if you purchase high quality paints, the particle size will be, diameter will be very less. So this enables the suspension to remain as original paint till the long period. So in the cement dust also is released in the form of 0.5 to 100, the fly ash dust 0.8 to 100, coal dust, and here we have to mention the COVID. The COVID size is about 300 micron, which is heavier, even than the cement dust. So most of the people can experience, if the cement dust is raised in your premises, immediately within seconds you will respond. Your respiratory system will respond with some kind of allergic reaction. So that kind of allergic reaction cannot be seen in case of COVID, because that has a higher diameter, 300 microns, and that will settle to the bottom, settle to the soil. So this coal dust and the pollen grains, it is primarily called as this group of pollen grains released by billions and trillions of plants in the croplands. They release the pollen at a time. So the villagers, they experiencing asthma, bronchitis, and allergies, like all these things, because they don't know. The millions of plants release the pollen grains at a time, and all these pollen grains having 10 micron size, they have a tendency to enter the human lungs directly. So that is why the particles of 10 microns and less than that, they are called as the respirable suspended particulate matter. Respirable suspended particulate matter. So that is which they can directly enter into the human lungs. Your nasal openings and all the filters cannot effectively control all these pollen grains. So that is why they are named as the respirable particulate matters. Respirable particulate. All the dust particles, oil droplets, or the water droplets, or the what we call the suspended particulate matter and the gaseous particles. Say recently also we heard that in the Visakhapatnam hazard, the what we call the LG polymers, the styrene gas. Gas is heavier than air because it's the droplet diameter is higher. Droplet diameter is higher. So they settle to the bottom. They are dispersing near to the surface of the earth. So that is why about a human being may be 1.5 to 2 meters height. So he will be easily inhaling all these things, and the effect in that case will be multiple. So this is the size of the particle, how it influences the quality of our inhaling air. And these particulates, they are primary particulates, secondary, these all things are run. And let us briefly examine the sources, the natural sources and man-made sources. Man-made sources. So the natural sources, as I said earlier, the pollen grains released by what we call the plants, croplands. The meteorites, the natural sources contribute. The meteorites, about 8 billion solid particles, they are released every year by 2000 year, and it is more than that because in case of the space activities are increasing. The exact after 2000 the estimates were not made, and these particles are no doubt they are released and suspended in the space. The volcanoes release the particulates of all the diameters which I have shown now, and they are remain in the troposphere, which is just above the surface of the earth, and the stratosphere where the ozone is the primary. And the sulfur dioxide from the volcanoes is converted into the sulfate. The large volumes of sulfur dioxide deposited in the land forms is erupts in the volcanic eruptions and mixes with the air and remains in the atmosphere as the sulfate in the form of aerosol. Because that will change the sulfur dioxide gas attains a humidity droplets phase and remains in the atmosphere. Sulfate aerosol is a highly toxic, and it is released. Fortunately, it is released by the only volcanic eruptions. So when we see the data of the volcanic eruptions like in the Philippines, and say this kind of 30 into 10 to the power of 9, 10 to the power of 9 kgs of SPM, and 20 into 10 to the power of 9 sulfur dioxide, and all these things. Quantum is extremely high. It becomes unbearable if the volcano is located in your premises. I mean, what we call in the nearby area. The vegetation, just I told you, in the rural areas, they are forts and all these things are placed. And the dust storms, sand storms are also naturally created because of the wind patterns. So all these things raise the dust and in what we call they distribute within the suspension form in the air we inhale. The sea salt spares, just we have seen the Indonesia 1997, 98. The wood burns. Say this is all our common experience that PAH, polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons. So it is we also see, we have seen one time or the other in the PAH, the polycyclic aromatic means that gives that has a specialized smell, aroma. So the PAH are also released in the forest burns, forest fires. So PAH also we have seen when we use firewood for cooking or some activity. See the other end of the firewood, there we see the brown droplets, liquid droplets at the other end of the firewood. So these droplets are nothing but the polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons. So these are not the chemicals which are bought from elsewhere. We also generate in our homes through the firewood. So and these sources, man-made sources, all our activities, what we do. And the vehicular emissions, combustion process, the metallurgical operations, and all these things. Metallurgical operations are mining activity. The combustion process in the industry, we subject the coal or oil, natural gas, all these things to combustion to generate energy. So this combustion process, we have to mention one thing. So this combustion, when it is complete, the firewood is burnt completely, it releases carbon dioxide. Let us take example of coal. If the coal is completely burnt, the carbon dioxide will be the end product. If the combustion process is incomplete, say by means of some dampness prevails in the coal which we burnt, so this will release only carbon monoxide. The reaction of combustion, burning is not complete. So if you burn the damp firewood, damp coal, so the reaction, combustion reaction cannot be complete because of excess humidity that prevails in this. So if the combustion process is complete, we get the carbon dioxide as end product. And if the combustion process is incomplete, we get the carbon monoxide, which is highly dangerous than the carbon. So this combustion activity, the metallurgical activities, and all these things are, and the one type which we generally ignore, and we even do not find any article on this also anywhere, the fugitive dust. That means the generation of dust by causing friction over the surface of the earth. Say for example, in a village road, which are generally poor quality, if a bike is passing in the road, so some dust will rise. And if a truck of 10-ton truck rises, passes over that, it raises more dust, fugitive dust. So that dust rising due to the friction caused over the surface. And also this fugitive dust, rising of the dust depends on, one is the diameter of the wheel, speed of the vehicle. If the vehicle passes with a very high speed, the dust will rise like a cloud and it remains in the atmosphere for several hours. So these activities, by intention or without our knowledge, our activities generate the suspended particulate matter into the atmosphere. And the effects, if we see these, the photosynthetic rate in the plants gets reduced. The stomata that are present for the leaves, that means the pores present in the leaves to facilitate the evapotranspiration, to evaporate the water in case of high temperatures in the atmosphere. So that those things are closed with the suspended particulate matter, the dust particles, and the pollen output greatly reduced. The dust accumulation on leaf greatly reduces the chlorophyll content, because the chlorophyll content should be exposed to the direct sunlight. Then it can produce more carbon dioxide. The accumulation of the material on the property, these dust particles, we see where the roads are not clear and quality. So we find all the, what we call the compound walls of the house, the verandas of all the residential complexes. So they are completely covered with the dust. So with that, the aesthetic value of the house is lost. And particularly the aerosols, particularly the acidic aerosols, where if they are happen to stuck to your compound wall or the newly painted house, so this paint reacts with the acid and they get detached from the wall easily. That is how the life of the paints is lost. And also these dust particles or these things, suspended particulate matter, they also deposit on your clothes. So otherwise, if you don't clean them every day, you cannot even wear them. That is, of course, we take care of it. But the thing which you cannot take care of thing is that this fabric of the cloth is stiffened. It becomes brittle on continuous exposure to this particles. So the life of the or the quality of the fabric is lost. And so these suspended particles in winter, what we our experience is the fog formation. That is nothing but the photochemical reaction, photochemical smog that reacts, that remains suspended in the atmosphere, interferes with the insular radiation. That means the incoming solar radiation. So these things they obstruct the visibility. So Delhi is experiencing every year. We see this visibility problem. Because of this visibility problem, they have been stopping the public transport also for few weeks every year. And in order to improve the what we call the visibility due to this photochemical smog, Delhi, of course, they are now using atomizers. That is like water spray with fine particulates. So they will spray, just as we spray pesticide and all, like fountains. Say this photochemical smog dispersal also is facilitated by the atomizers. That is mean very fine finest water droplets are spread into the atmosphere so that they will disperse the what we call this photochemical smog. The fog. Smog means that is the reaction of the form resolve what we call the formed because of this photochemical reactions, and fog is formed due to the humidity. And when photochemical smog is, the smog means the fog plus the smoke. The smoke yesterday you have released from your vehicles, and the fog is naturally formed water vapor, cloud of water vapor near to the surface of the earth. So when these two things mix with the with the influence of the incoming solar radiation, a smog, a combination of these two, a smog is formed. And all these things they affect not only the visibility, your respirability, respiration is affected by this photochemical smog. So the respirable dust reach the alveolus. That means alveolus is the smallest functional unit of your lung. So several billions of such alveoli will form your lung. And this dust directly, when you inhale the air containing this dust, will directly go on and settle onto the alveolus, which also influence the gaseous exchange. In the case of corona also, if these things are happen to enter into the lungs, they are invited to a buffet. They are invited to a buffet in your lungs. So they propagate enormously. They are happily, they enjoy the dinner, lunch, everything inside your lungs and spoil within very short time. The soluble aerosols are absorbed into the bloodstream from the alveolus. So when these things enter into the alveolus, this is because this is the place of what we call the exchange of gases, exchange of nutrients and all. These aerosols, they enter into the bloodstream and circulate throughout the body. The insoluble aerosols are carried to the lymphatic system and they are settled there. And these soluble aerosols, they rotate the entire body and interfere with what we call the nutrient exchange. The exchange of gases and all these things are interrupted. So your body cannot be the gases cannot be absorbed to their full potential. These kind of things are very common. This happens. This is what happens with the dust you have been roaming in, and the aerosols we have been inhaling. And here I want to tell you, the body sprays I told you, so they are nothing but aerosols. Aerosols. Because a droplet is broken into the millions, creating a jet. They attain the form of aerosol and remain in the atmosphere, distributed in the atmosphere, and we inhale them, and they are directly, we are inviting an inviting unwanted guest into your lymphatic system or the blood streams. The incidence of fibers, dust, aerosols on the lung surface cause the excessive response, because this generates, our body has an inherent tendency to fight with the foreign particles. So these things, the fibers, fine dust, and aerosols, all these things, they instigate our system, respiratory system. And when this starts fighting, there will be an excessive response from our body, which is known as allergy. Which is known as allergy. And when we go to doctor, he will give a sedation with some other things, and it will slow down that reaction. So allowing these fire, dust, aerosols, and all these things to remain in your lungs for long time. So do not use the instant relief agents, instant relief medicines in case of use for respiratory allergies. And also, if you have, there are specific and a-specific sensitivities in the patients. They are specific to certain compound, chemical compound. We can see some of the things like what we call the mosquito repellents we use in home. So some brands are not received by the people, children, old age people, like that. They react, they start coughing. So this is the specific reaction, sensitivity. And on prolonged exposure to all these kinds of aerosols, the gases and all, this leads to a syndrome. A syndrome means it is not a direct disease, but because of the disability caused by these things, caused by the certain systems like these things, the absorption of oxygen, release of antibodies, circulation of the certain blood components within the body. So like that, all these things are affected, which results in the performance. So some organs fail to perform at 100% level in presence of these things. So this will result in a syndrome. It is a symptomatic treatment should be given for such things. So it is not a disease by itself, but it influences the efficiency of the other organs. The respiratory allergies, the photochemical smog. This is our common experience. Somebody goes out during photochemical smog, so immediately they will start sneezing and coughing. So these are the effects. So sometime 1954, the London smog killed 4,000 people. 1997, Indonesia forest fire killed 8 people, and the victims' lungs, the respiratory organs, accumulated very large quantities of the fly ash. And also the pregnant woman on continuous exposure to these dust particles, these aerosols and all these things, give birth to children with a small heads and small bodies, disproportionate bodies, and all. So with children with malformations are born to the pregnant women when exposed to this aerosols and all. PAH, the polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons that are released from the forest fires and all. So they affect, and even most of the industries also, the organic compounds. You see, it is nothing but an organic compound, benzene ring with different combinations of hydrogen, phosphorus, and all these things. They say they react with, they are effective to damage your DNA. The polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons damage the DNA of the growing fetus. That means the growing baby inside the mother's womb. So the fetus deformities are initiated by what we call the polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons. The deposition of this on the skin results in wrinkles and early senescence. So if these SPM they deposit in the, say for example, they commonly the city people they take bath twice a day, and in village with a good quality of soaps, shampoos, and all. So they remove all the dust. So in villages, the people particularly who attend the agricultural works and all, actually they are exposed to this dust directly, and also they allow the dust particles to remain on them for several hours and expose it to together with the sunlight. So these particles, and with the influence of this sunlight, they get absorb heat from the inside, incoming solar radiation, and distributes this heat that is gained from the insulation over the skin. So the body is subjected to excess heat than normal skin. So this results in the formation of the wrinkles, the folds that are coming, giving the early senescence. The people look very old, older than the age. The problem of SCM is greatly reduced efficiency in the human performance, particularly in the rural areas. So this is just I thought. And indoor air pollution. So in the light of what we call the COVID period, this is the era of COVID. No doubt we are ruled by our rulers. We have a democratic process to be ruled by the prime minister, president, and a lot of this thing hierarchy is there. But we can say that this is the era we are ruled by the COVID-19. For another few months, now today morning only, the Indian Medical Council has released one bulletin stating these COVID, we have to be with COVID for another 12 months, 1 year. So COVID is ruling, and it has disturbed all the sectors in the developmental activities. And our health is the main thing. And fortunate that the mortality rate with this COVID-19 is very, very less. It is 3 to 4% only. But the thing is, you have to be very careful and you have to learn. So simply by remaining in home, it will not, because the Americans have recognized indoor air pollution as the one of the disturbing factor or one of the prime pollutant. So 15 years ago itself, the United States people have recognized this as the fourth, they have given 4th rank to the indoor air pollution. Because there are more Indians, but why they tolerate this pollution? Because all these things now I tell you how the indoor air is polluted. So you are not safe by being in home. So you just practice to avoid all these things. the contributors or the sources of these indoor air pollution, then only we are 100% we can reach the targets. The pollen which originate from the plants, the virus which is transmitted by the people and animals, the molds, the bacteria which are carried by people, the animals and soil or plant debris, the household pets which are sources of the saliva. Say most of the people in the cities, they have pets moving along with them on every article, sitting, taking rest on all the articles we use in our home. So the saliva that is drawn and the dander, that means the skin flakes or dandruff like things, the scales, all these things, they will be the causative factors to attract or to keep these COVID along with them, and also they subject these inmates to this, and the droppings and body parts from the cockroaches. Our kitchens are the main habitat. The rodents, the pests, the insecticides. So how, let us see. The protein in the urine of the rats, mice is a potent allergen, because during night time they move in all the house, including your hall, your bedrooms, your kitchen, everything, they roam and they release some of the scales and all these proteins, droplets and all these things, they form into the they are dropped in the house and all these things, they becomes allergens. So if you are allergic to many compounds, many such things which you do not know, so this allergy will not directly cause anything, but it will reduce your what we call the resistance, body resistance. So when the body resistance is less, you are attacked, you are more prone to what we call the bacterial and viral disease. The contaminated central air handling systems, like most of the houses now, they are going for centrally AC. You are not worried about cleaning the systems. Even the centrally AC houses, offices, and all these things. So you can just imagine how frequently they are cleaned. No, we don't see cleaning them. This happens. They are the breeding grounds for the biological contaminants like the virus, bacteria, and all. So these things, they contaminate the entire house, and these they are small enough to be inhaled. Just I told you, particles less than 10 microns diameter, they can be directly inhaled into your lungs, making you more prone to the disorders. The biological contaminants are produced by the living things. The biological contaminants are often found in the areas provide food and moisture of water. In certain locations, even in our house. So the dampness or the wet areas, the cooling coils, the humidifiers, the condensate ponds, they are unvented bathrooms. So most likely in the apartment culture, the bathrooms, so they have no proper ventilation. And most of the citizens, they do not use even the exhaust in the what we call the apartments. So this encourages the formation of the developing the breeding grounds for the biological contaminants. The draperies, beddings, carpets. The carpets we use for fashion to improve the aesthetic value of our house. So they have the specific dust, mites, and the mites and other insects, which cause the what we call the fever, mite fevers, and all these things. And also they collect the dust. The carpet collects the dust. and encourages the breeding of what we call the carpet mites. Carpet. So like that we have so many inside our home. We should be very cautious. So just by want to highlight is, just by sitting at home, you are not safe from the COVID. So you have to follow all these things. If you have any carpets, all the other things, you have to see that it is clean. It is clean. Say, you have so many vacuum cleaners, the floor washings, and all these things should be perfectly done in every 48 hours at least. And if you use more chemicals, say for example, we have been nowadays with the COVID, onset of this COVID, we are very commonly using the insecticide. I mean, the disinfectants, hypochlorite, like that. So if you use them in the excess quantities, their perfume remains longer period and subject you to the allergic reaction. So you should be very careful in using this dosage. And some types of asthma, like infectious illness, such as the influenza, measles, chickenpox, transmitted through the air. So along with that, another dangerous, which has no medicine at all, component has joined, a guest has joined, dominated our lifestyle, and so this draws the special attention of everyone. So any pollutant that enters into your house causes sneezing, watery eyes, coughing, shortness of breath, dizziness, lethargy, and all these things, all these things, So if these things happen to you frequently, that means your resistance is decreasing. So that is a favorable condition for the attacking of what we call the coronavirus. The children are more prone to all these things, breathing problems, allergies, and fortunately, the cases of corona incidents in children is very less. And the edible oil flavors, this everyone has to listen. The edible oil we use repeatedly at home. So this edible oil, say after cooking, the remaining oil is kept aside for the next use. So these vapors, while cooking some items, these oil vapors are released and it is covering the entire house. It will be there from 12 hours to 24 hours even. So you are continuously inhaling all these things. So you remember, most of these oils, to increase the acceptability of the people, so they are added with some coloring agents, which are nothing but so just as we have colors for petrol, kerosene and all, the mercaptans are added. It is a benzene compound, with a sulfhydryl group. The mercaptans, different mercaptans are used to increase the public acceptance of these oils, and as the mercaptans also are inhaled by your at home. So don't use the oils repeatedly. So maybe our economy permits it's 2 times use and then throw it. But repetition of oil usage will give more mercaptans inside the house. So that similarly, the pesticides we use for what we call the rats, cockroaches and all. So the fireplaces, so maybe in the temperate regions like Himalayan regions and the temperate regions, all these things, and the volatile organic compounds and all these things. And the radon. The last point I want to tell you is the radon. Radon is an irradiating compound. The radon is released in the form of gas, whose bare parental element is the rubidium. rubidium, that is a radioactive element. So the regions where this rubidium and all these things are present in very minute quantities in the soils, so this radon gas is released from the surface of the earth, from the underground to it reaches the surface and enters you into your home through the drainage pipes, the cracks that are present in the walls and all, the floors, and also the window gaps, wherever the small gaps are there. From all these gaps, the radon, nowadays the United States is taking more preventive measures for the prevent the entry of radon into the atmosphere, into our home. So fortunately, we don't have that compound heaters. So with this thing, simple, how to control the relative humidity level in the home. It should be preferably maintained between 30 and 50%. So, and also, as I told you, you keep the cockroaches, the rodents and all these things away from our home. Do not allow them to enter into our home. Take special precautions, and also don't allow the humidity to be more than 50% in the house. The standing water, water damaged materials or the wet surfaces, all these things, because you all know it is the breeding ground for mildews, bacteria, insects and all. And the house dust mites, the surface, the source of one of the most powerful biological allergens, grow in the damp, warm environment and all these things. We have to take special measures of all by simply sitting at home, using the same sofa sets with blankets and covers, extra covers for them. All these things should be frequently replaced, and do not allow the COVID or any other bacteria to settle on these things. Take special care and be safe, come out safe from the COVID menace. So with this, I am very happy you all have paid special attention to listen to my topic, and I thank the Dr. Ramajiro, Dr. Shashidhar, and Dr. The organizers of this webinar. Thank you very much. Thank you particularly for your special patient listening to my lecture. Thank you. If you have any questions.
రాజు చాట్ బాక్స్ లో క్వశ్చన్ ఉంటాయి కదా సార్, చూడు ఒకసారి రాజు.
చాట్ బాక్స్ లో క్వశ్చన్
సార్,
చాట్ బాక్స్ లో ఒకసారి క్వశ్చన్ ఓపెన్ చేయండి.
నాకు హోస్ట్ ఇవ్వండి సార్ ఒకసారి.
ఇచ్చేస్తా. ఇప్పుడు చూడు రాజు, ఇప్పుడు చూడు చాట్ బాక్స్ చూడు.
సార్ క్వశ్చన్ ఏమి రాలేదండి.
నేను నీకు ఓపెన్ చేసేస్తా. రాజు ఇప్పుడు చూడు. రాజు
సార్
ఇప్పుడు చూడు, ఇప్పుడు హోస్ట్ వచ్చినాయి నీకు వస్తాయి, ఓపెన్ చేయవచ్చు. చాట్ బాక్స్ ఓపెన్. ఒకరు క్వశ్చన్ అడిగినారు చూడు, వాట్ అబౌట్ ఏఎఫ్టీ ఫీడ్బ్యాక్?
సార్ క్వశ్చన్ ఏం లేదు సార్, ప్రొసీడ్ అవుతారంట.
ఓకే అచ్చా.
Thank you for all the participants. You are listening very well, I think. I hope the national webinar on environmental conservation, your social responsibility, ISR, during COVID-19. This is the topic and theme of the topic. Particularly, the theme of the topic is the interdisciplinary approach. That's why we are selected the different types of resource persons. I am very thankful to the presenters as well as act as a resource persons for this seminar. Actually, the YSR, your social responsibility, is one of the individual responsibility towards the environment that is important. Previously, we have seen the CSR, that is a corporate social responsibility, particularly the corporate social responsibility during the plantation activities or other environmental issues like a waste management and other issues related to the environment, how the corporate can be take the share in the environmental improvement. But particularly your social responsibility is the individual responsibility. During COVID-19, we have how you can be act, stay home and stay safe. This is one of the slogan. And also we are listening the SMS, that is the sanitization, masks and social distance. These are the three important issues during away from the COVID-19 or coronavirus. So that's why every individual behavior, attitude, and at the same time, your responsibility towards the community, how do not spreading this coronavirus to the man to man or people to people. So we can cultivate the awareness during this national webinar, particularly the first resource person, Dr. N.S. Srinidhi, Assistant Professor, Forest College and Research Institute, Hyderabad. He was explained the environment in COVID-19 period. Particularly, he was covered the climate change as well as the greenhouse gases and what are the changes is observed in the present scenario. And the second speaker, Dr. G. Matthew Srirangam, the citizenship role, how the citizen can be attitude, but particularly the balancing of the ecological system and also the economy and also the circular economy, like the multi-fascinated issues can be take it and discussed. And the third one, Dr. A.V.S. Swami is given the elaborate discussion about the air pollution as well as the indoor pollution. The indoor pollution airs and room fresheners and all this, how they can be impacted. Particularly, there is a simple this one. Generally, in the air, there are two: the suspended particulate matters (SPM), and the second one is the respirable suspended particulate matters, the RSPM. Particularly in the home environment or indoor pollution, these respirable suspended particulate matters are generated as so many impacts. Particularly, that can be given a good examples like aerosols and using a room refresheners or other what we are using in our home. I hope the knowledge as well as I am very thankful to this Dr. Srinidhi, Dr. D.M. Srirangam, Dr. A.V.S. Swami Garu. Unfortunately, Dr. Professor S.R. Taurat is away from this, not able to connect due to the technical problem as well as the heavy rain in that area. I'm very sorry to say the Taurat sir is not able to participate in this national webinar. And at the same time, I am very thankful to our university administration by our Vice Chancellor, Professor P. Rajshekhar Garu, who was initiated and giving the encouragement to do the national webinar to aware the people regarding to the particularly environmental conservation as well as the environmental issues. He was given the full-fledged helping hand and encouragement to do the series of websites, particularly during COVID-19 time. And I am also thankful to our rector, Professor SARABOJI Garu, who was initiating giving the enthusiasm to do the national webinars to aware the public and as well as the students in this regard. And I am thankful to our registrar, Professor K. Rosai Garu, who was encouraging and giving the opportunity to do the national webinars and aware the people. I am thankful to the Professor K. Rosai Garu, registrar. And as a coordinator of this national webinar, I am Dr. P. Brahmaji Rao, who was coordinating all the technical personalities who helped in this regard. I am thankful to our SEED, that is a Center for Environmental Education and Development convener, Dr. K. Shashidhar, who was coordinated all the people and also formulated the webinar link and also the circulating this national webinar. Almost all more than 200 participants are participated in this national webinar. I am thankful to all the participants who are listening and finally who are supporting hand in technical as well as the continuous encouragement is given from the Dr. S. Sarboji, Principal Aditya Physical Education College, Kakinada. I am very thankful to the Sarboji sir, who was giving a technical support and technical problems arising immediately he was attending and cleared all the technical problems. And Dr. S. Raju, the Vikas Physical Education College in Unna, he was also giving the encouragement and continuous technical support during the 3 hours he was sitting here, and all the rectifications can be done. I am thankful to S. Raju, and also my special thanks to the Suman Doshi, faculty from Mangalore University, and Dr. K. Madhubabu, faculty from HRM department, and Dr. and Bhagavan Das, research scholar, social work department. I am also thankful to our university colleagues, all the teachers who are involved and encouraging to conduct the national webinar. I am thankful to each and everyone, particularly feedback. Coming to the feedback, within 2 days, the feedback sent to your mails and immediately send back the feedbacks, and each and every participant is receiving the e-certificate after sending your feedback through mails. So automatically, don't worry about the certificate. If you send the feedback immediately, automatically we can generate the e-certificate due to immediate response, and also the feedback is going to be sent within 2 days. And at the same time, do not leave this group. We are supposed to conducting a series of webinars, particularly not this much of time. You can close a 1.5 hour to 2 hours within 2 hours. Automatically, you are all within touch this group. I am thankful to all participants who are encouraged me and also participated till the end of the national webinar. I am thankful to each and every participants. With these remarks, I am closing this national webinar. Thank you very much.
Sir. Sarboji sir. Sarboji sir.
Thank you. I request all the participants, please leave yourself. Thank you.